Well, these are the things I feel it'll just be easier to make a video to show what they look like. This is the tool I got for delidding. These things inside here are plastic, and there's like two pieces taped together. I think that's plastic as well. Don't know how well this will come out on the camera, but there's a little slot in the inside there. I'll have to see how that works out. But yeah, these threads feel a little sketch. But hey, they include an Allen key, so that's something. This thing cost about 200 bucks, like in total, including shipping and charges and stuff. Not doing this on the camera is really difficult. But it has quite a lot of resistance, so this thing wasn't threaded quite right. Anyway, so I assume you put your processor in there, and then you just kind of wrench on it and hope for the best. There doesn't seem to be an easy way to reverse this, so I think you'd have to take the processor out and then flip it in. There is like a silicon type, well, just plastic thing. It looks like a spacer or something that's been stuck in the bottom there, but not on this side. I hope that's by design. Maybe that's just to push the processor to the one side. I'm not really sure. Anyway, that was one box, and then this was a separate one. You get your toothpaste, I assume, inside of there. Well, I think this might actually be like a cleaning fluid. I'm actually not really sure. The instructions were pretty non-existent, so. But Iceman is apparently a pretty well-known brand, be it Chinese. Now, from what I understand, there's two different ways to do direct die cooling. One is to use one of these, which is just a full-on block. You take off the existing thing, the brackets and everything, so this holds down the processor in the socket. It's pretty damn smooth, and as far as like rated cooling is concerned, this is apparently even better than the EK waterblock one. That said, there is some level of texture on there, so it's not like perfectly smooth, but it's pretty up there. Liquid metal will probably make up the difference. This thing's freaking heavy. It's heavier than my other water block, and it's smaller, so this thing's basically all copper. But yeah, you install that. This thing holds the processor down. You don't need any contact frames or anything like that. The second way is to order a contact frame that's designed to hold down a processor that doesn't have the IHS on it. That's its own thing, though. And if you do that, you can use your existing cooler, which is a lot cheaper because that thing's only like, I think, 400 Rand. It's like, I think, $20-ish, whilst this thing was about $86, so more like 1,800 Rand. And I just had to spend 300 Rand on shipping, so that's fun. Well, 300 Rand customs. But yeah, it's just gets held in by the existing bracket screws. So this thing I'm pretty confident to work, if this sketchy delidding tool doesn't like completely just break my processor. But we'll see. So I'm going to run a test with my current processor as is. It's like 25 degrees outside, though it's slightly hotter inside, I think. And my CPU is sitting around 46 to around 49, 50-ish, and up to 52, doing essentially nothing. Figure I'd have to record a video of it because it's going to be jumping all over the place. So, immediately like 80, 84, and it's just started 86. Fans are ramping up and everything, and it's sort of holding there around 84, 86 degrees. And everything is max turboing at the moment, but it does eventually hit 90 degrees as the water loop warms up, so and it's completely feasible that my room gets hotter. It's only sort of in summer at the moment. Yeah, I think I'm also slightly undervolting as well. So the main thing is to note that like I'm running at 240 watts, and that's like not very high for this processor. Like I can definitely go higher. But yeah, I had to turn down the load line calibration and stuff like that to drop the voltage. Where's the voltage, by the way? It'll be on my motherboard. So my current vehicle voltage maxed out at 1.252 volts. The default is 1.3, so that tells you like how much it's undervolted. If I can run it at its normal voltage, I might be able to get a little bit of overclocking, but the main thing I want to do is just keep it under 80 degrees, just for longevity's sake. Still a very expensive thing to be using this for. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, this is my old cooler. I'm just taking it out. I've unscrewed everything. I just want to be very careful because it's covered in liquid metal. I'll have to clean that off. And that grey stuff you see on the sides is just silicon, because I didn't want it to get on the aluminium bracket. But yeah, not the greatest patch, but yeah. Obviously you should never put liquid metal on the IHS, but I tried everything with this cooler. So this was the original contact frame I was using. I don't know how bad that liquid metal's probably scuffed up the heatsink, but yeah, overall it seems fine. I think that drop might have come off when I took the heatsink off. But yeah, this screws on using the original brackets, and literally like it just holds the processor down with it. Now I just have to pop the processor out and clean it up. Okay, that was cleaned up with a little bit of RPA. It leaves this like black residue on it, but you can still read the writing. So yeah, it doesn't like seem to damage the coating. I think all it does is it gets in on the little imperfections of it. But yeah, now it's trying to figure out how this gets in here. So I looked at the instructions, and apparently it fits in like that, and that little groove over there is what the heatsink slides into once it pops off. There's a little thing that lifts half the processor up. Just need to make sure I don't end up yoinking those ring capacitors out or anything. But anyway, that should in theory fit in here centered somehow. Well, it doesn't want to center itself. See how that goes. Then this piece over here is plastic, so is that. And then you just kind of slide these on, I guess. And then just hold a sec. Yeah, then yeah, you just slide it on, and this thing grips on the top edge of this processor. And hopefully that's correct. That little piece over there seems a little higher than I would like. I've seen these boards kind of really get damaged over time. And then I'm supposed to put it in an oven until like on 100 degrees. Now, I don't have that much trust in my oven, so I guess we can tell what temperature it is now. It's 29 degrees. So yeah, damn near 30 when I did that test. I'm just going to use a heat gun. I'm going to measure the temperature with one hand and heat gun it with the other. I won't be able to record that, unfortunately. Not good so far. These things seem to be coming apart. I don't know if you're supposed to have them both on or not. And again, no instructions on the box. But I might have to take this apart and switch it over for the other, like to only use one or something. Can't really tell if that slipped or not, but we'll see. Okay, looking at this, I think this is supposed to just, this thing's still very damn hot. It's supposed to just take up the distance between the side of this IHS and the actual PC board. I don't think it's supposed to take up any more than that. Although it's hard to tell. Because if you do that, all this thing will end up doing is pushing, because this pushes the PC board itself. So it gets stopped by the PC board. Yeah, not really sure how you're supposed to do that, but we'll see. Okay, so what I've learned from this is it's kind of like playing chicken with this thing. It felt like I did get a pop there, so I did end up chickening out a little bit where I just get the Allen key. Where I decided to heat the processor outside of the thing because the plastic was not great. It was actually deforming a little bit. This is still very hot, but yeah, the plastic was deforming, and then yeah, I just decided, okay, well, let me heat it outside of it, and I'll just get me better control over it. I got it up to about 80 degrees, and then popped it in, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, just a few seconds later, all I've done is unscrew that, so I'm going to find out now whether I've popped off all the capacitors or not. It definitely shifted. So pretty damn okay. I guess it just fell out. None of that like really horrible grinding that you hear on when other people do it. But yeah, that looks pretty clean. I'd call that successful. Now it's just a matter of cleaning this thing up, which I think I can scrape off most of this indium, assuming it's like, it has like wet spots, which is interesting, but I think you can literally just scrape it with a nail. Yeah. So I can probably scrape off most of it, and then I believe you can mix some liquid metal into it to soften it up and then remove it. But yeah, well, it was a bit of a rush doing this because you have to keep it hot the whole time. But heating it up definitely worked, and I think heating it up outside of this thing is the way to do it. You heat it up with a heat gun. Like I said, I chickened it out at about like 80-ish degrees. It just started like making some crackling sounds. Because the main issue I'm worried about is accidentally overheating it to the point where the solder gives out. Hopefully I haven't overheated the processor, because obviously this is shiny, so well, sort of shiny. So the reading I was getting might not be completely accurate. But yeah, I'll have to clean it up and see how it goes. So I'm slowly busy applying this stuff onto it. I didn't fully clean it because, I mean, it's going to dissolve in anyway, and it should be fine. Now notice if you push hard with this, which is what you get with the Thermal Grizzly stuff, it completely, like, it does not stick to it at all. You can try scraping it on with the edge of this onto the die, and it does not want to stick. But if you just lightly touch it, it does stick. So it's kind of odd stuff. But you see where it hasn't been stuck? That's what it looked like on this die. So I don't actually think that this thing was making particularly good contact with my chip. That's probably why it was overheating. So yeah, fun times. Now I'm getting a closer look and slowly moving things around. See, some of this has got that like bit of a shiny look to it, and that really doesn't stick to that. What I think is it's some of this, whatever this stuff is, which is probably some kind of contact aid. So I probably do have to like scrape this completely clean before I apply it. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, this has been pretty easy so far. I applied some of this thermal stuff on here. You can't really tell how close that die has to be. Well, it's not like marked out where the die is actually supposed to make contact, but I did what I could. Some people have had clearance issues with this thing, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Okay, so sitting at around 39 on a 30-degree day, so that's like a 10 degrees above ambient, which is not bad so far. This is the first time I'm going to run this, so let's just hope for the best, I guess. And off she goes. I mean, it's more than a 10-degree drop in temperature. That is not bad. Still a little rough, but it is a hot day, I suppose. But yeah, not going above 70. Well, not going above like 80, I guess, so 75-ish. That's really not bad. The score's the same, but that's to be expected because it wasn't thermal throttling. But yeah, sweet. I'd call that a success.